Right.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting back to order. It is 9:34. And we are on item number
9C, consider special event permit, short-term temporary license, temporary license for bid and a temporary social premise for draft and vessel permit east held on September 4th, 2019.
whatever you want to speak to, did it go to committee? The law says did it go to committee?
It did not go to committee, I believe due to the timing of our committee schedule and the need to approve the license we have to advertise.
Okay. But, hold on, let's see. So, does that happen a lot? I was just thinking, what was the time, like, it's coming up, right? October? September, so how long do you need?
We've asked at least 90 days. Make sure everything is set.
Okay, do you have a point of question?
No, I wanted to make a motion. So I wanted to move to approve special event permit, short-term temporary license, temporary Class B license for the bid and a temporary extension of premises for draft and vessel for the feast September 14th of 2019.
I'll second.
Okay, anything else from the clerk?
I do not have anything. Unfortunately was not at the meeting, the staff meeting, which Eric attended. I was on vacation, so I cannot speak to anything that was missed.
So, Rebecca, can you help us out on this issue, because I know you've explained a couple things to me on safety, and then we'll hear from our bid director. This is, you have nothing? No, I thought you were asking me a question. I just, do you have any comments on were you at the meeting that she wasn't at?
I was not present as well, because I was out of town.
And you're so pleased, everyone's good with the... Okay, so Tyler was there, and I talked to Tyler, and he had significant concerns. So you don't know about them, and you don't know about them. They said they were safety, you probably know about them, but just the closing of the street. So I'll ask the bid director, come on up. Go ahead.
Leanne was there and
Oh, good.
these two at the staff meeting that was last Tuesday.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, and so I addressed all of their concerns, and we had a really good discussion about street closures, barricades, signage, and all that I feel that I addressed in the packet. So
What was the concern?
no, just, for example, I did give a barricade map in there too, that you can refer to. Like because you're closing the event, it starts at Blues A and that crosses Dallas Street, and you have those two entrances to the Metro Market parking deck, it would make sense to have Wood that day be a one-way going eastward. So comments like that, so the materials reflect that input. And then what sides, when you have that secondary barricade, the best practices say that barricades have to be out to the next intersection. Should they be hard closures or soft? Oakland has to be hard, so there should be large vehicles on the southern and the northern boundary of your event, but on the secondary, on the side streets, they don't have to be hard closures, but they have to be signed, road closed ahead. So that, I think we got into a lot of good detail.
Okay, that wasn't
for
the
that.
concerns I heard, but I'll, go ahead, Jessica.
I would just like, thank you for your thorough preparation of the materials in the packet, and thank you. It seems that, what we have in our memo is that it would be acceptable for us to proceed with this, and that there were no, that the department heads have reviewed this. And I'm really looking forward to the event. I think it sounds really creative, and I've heard it from the beginning of it being developed. And so I would like to make a motion.
It's already been made.
And a second.
And a second.
Oh, great. Okay, so I am fully I support this application.
I will say from Diane was there and had to meet, she thought all the concerns were worked out. So
Do you know what they were?
I don't, but she said everything was worked out.
I don't know why we have to rehash things that were addressed in a meeting and everybody left the meeting with them being worked out. Nothing's being brought to us here for,
I'm just asking staff, because our assistant village manager, when I did the agenda meeting, said there's some significant safety concerns, they may have been worked out
They were.
between, right? So I just
They
wanted to
were.
make sure what they were and how they were worked out. I'm not saying anything is wrong with the application, it's just that he said that to me, and I thought we were gonna have some discussion at the board on that, and that it was worked out, but I just don't know what they were. I'll tell you what the one I heard was, is that the only other, because this is Oakland Avenue, it's more than one block, he had stated, please tell me if I'm right or wrong, but that you have to close down residential streets as well. You cannot just close down Oakland. And so his concern was that the police chief had concerns that the residential streets, and he said, he compared it to the bike races and said this is very similar to what we have to do for traffic mitigation to the bike races. If nobody else on our staff here has heard that, then I just feel concerned that we didn't get briefed, they weren't briefed by.
The vehicles, the residents that are on those side streets right off of Oakland would have full access to their driveways.
See, okay.
On
And that was
that
the way we
Wood,
were done.
on Wood Place, we'd actually talked about removing all the parking on the street on both sides, so traffic flows nice.
Right, he said the resident notices, that, I think that's what it was, you worked it out where you'd be notifying the residents,
Yes, we did.
which,
Yeah, and I have the dates, or I said 3 weeks out, then they'll get this, but absolutely.
thank you for that.
Actually, for the bike criterion, we did a postcard to everybody, and then I have a lengthy information sheet on the website that people go to that represent.
Right.
And customer service has to, I digress.
But, okay, so trustee Maher, then Warren, or trustee Maher, Amenta one.
I had a question on
Young
page
one.
2, the outside beer and wine sales. The second paragraph indicates Blues Eggs is providing the beer and wine for the harvest tenders. Those beverages will originate poured out of the restaurant.
I clarified with the clerk today that they actually will need an extension of permit.
Okay, so we're all set there.
I will be
Okay.
coming back with that, but
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
the only other restaurant with alcohol in that strip is North Shore Boulangerie, and I'm not 100% sure he's going to have an outside presence during it, because I know he's participating in the harvest dinner. So I'm hoping to get the bike race done, and then Jean and I will talk and see, so that I would come back with both of those.
Jean's a new board member.
That would be convenient.
So is there going to be 100 seating for 100 at the dinner?
Correct.
What happened, how, did you have any plan if it far exceeds? I mean, do you just,
As far as demand,
yes,
those ones is first
2021.
come, first served.
okay.
2020.
What happens, can they still attend the event and, oh, sorry, trustee, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just, is there 2 seatings or is there?
Right, so I believe it's 5 or 5:30 is the first seating, that would be family style. And so that's kid friendly, and have the big dishes, Cloud Red, we love their Brussels sprouts in that one. So then after that, they're gonna do the second seating at 7 o'clock, and that will be 5-course dinner. And then there'll be pairings, so we're hoping to have chefs and whoever is paired with, people get up between the courses and speak. So yeah, a lot of the contacts have been made with chefs. Obviously, our priority is local first, and then Arthur Isink is identifying chefs that live in Shore, but have great restaurants outside of Shore that they could be part of it too, to fill in the gap. So, yeah, and so that section of the festival will be closed off during the day, so people can walk by and be envious of the beautiful table. But yeah, that will be the quiet version of it.
Any others, trustee Maher, for now? Okay, trustee, I can't remember next, Amenta.
Yeah, I mean, this event seems like such a ton of work. Seems like so much organizing and work. And I guess and I did just say I don't get involved in bid stuff, but it seems, is the thinking behind this entertainment, making it an entertainment? Like, I'm not quite, because I'm not sure how this is, I get that it's going to be a lot of people and it's going to be entertaining and there's stuff to do and a sit-down dinner, but how is that supporting the business district?
Well, guess that's a bigger question just about than this event.
I mean,
Events in general
I mean,
bring
because it's
visitors
so-
to your
because it's-
community. They bring visitors to the community and it's awareness piece. The more feet on the ground, the more awareness that our district has. And so it's
Okay, because-
multiple, it's complex.
Right, I get that it brings people here, but I mean, my, you know, I mean, I'm okay with it, but I mean, one thing I'm not okay with though is closing the roads all the time, and, you know, just in the past couple of years, we've had shenanigans that was gonna be just 1 year or 2 years on the, and now it's every year. The Packer game, Three Lions closes for every 2 years for the soccer finals. And we have the bike race, so we already have 4, so this is gonna be the 5th event closing Oakland Avenue. And I mean, to me, it just seems like a lot of road closures, so I'm not really a big fan, and I just think we have to think about how often are we closing the road, and roads are not really entertainment venues, they're roads, so that was the only other question I had was the fiscal note. You know, I counted there's 16 barricades that have to be put up, and I mean, if we're talking, and 1,000, I mean, I guess the police, was 2 police officers, I believe, for the entire time. I just wanted to make sure the fiscal note
The
was not
residential
like.
have barricades, correct? Streets? Yeah, it's
So
like,
the bid offered to actually not involve the police and have private security that could come this time first. But no, the police chief offered to officers themselves. And I'm
For free?
assuming that will be invoiced for that, of course.
Oh,
I prefer police officers and private security.
My understanding from reading the
I have a
memo.
question too, but after. Go ahead. Yes, Rebecca, then trustee McKay, and then I have a question. And then trustee Bockers after this. Go ahead.
My understanding from reading the memo was that the police department will be providing 2 officers, and the memo noted that the bid understands that they may be invoiced for these services. There is also an understanding that Public Works is to provide staff to set up barricades and garbage receptacles and to provide other assistance as needed the day of the event for approximately 7 hours from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that you were aware of those.
Yeah, the DPW director in the staff meeting did offer that up. And we'll take it if they're offering it. I'm assuming there's probably a fee that's with that. And we're not there yet to know exactly when the biggest need is, but obviously to set the barricades up, garbage cans there and set up.
Trustee Warren.
And I just want to say thank you for this. It looks like a great event. I'm in support of it. I'm actually embarrassed myself in the basketball tournament, which occurs directly from my mom's house. So
Okay.
it's actually incentive.
3 on 3.
3 on 3. I was going to ask, my question involved takedown, because it looks like DPW is setting up, but I think, it's getting late at night. I think I actually should highlight the portion. So you're relying on volunteers. Is that big board members or just kind of community volunteers? Just to make sure.
It's going to be community volunteers, so that's sweet.
Okay.
And, we're hiring some outside folks to do the color sign and lighting in the stage. And the people that can, I'm hoping maybe there could be some partnerships in that, to help it. But the barricades, putting them off onto the parkway, I mean, that's nothing. We're going to have a dumpster, getting the garbages into the dumpster. There's going to be cleanup the next day. And I will have a core group of people walking the site the next day.
Well, 2 of the barricades will be in front of my house, so I can close on the parking.
Well, thank you. See, you just volunteered.
Trustee McKay, and then my question to trustee Bockers.
I'll see my time.
Can you, so my concern has always been, one, understanding what the concept is. Is it like is it celebrating international food? Is it, what's the theme of the feast?
Well, it started with the harvest dinner table. I mean, that's where the idea started, and then it grew. But we knew we didn't want a traditional street festival that's all focused on music and the drink.
Right.
We wanted it to be family friendly, and I know we tried to do that for shenanigans, but we're really trying hard with all the activities. So we're having a true kid zone. The rec department is on board with the program. So this is as Arthur would say, it's a celebration of all things Shorewood.
Okay.
We really, It's a communal event, so there's gonna be the big tables, of communal tables that people grab their food, they can sit down, meet their neighbors, and just hang out.
Okay, so when we met, you had just brought up there was some some international, it was an event, I don't remember,
Well,
what
we,
it was similar, so that's the only reason I'm asking.
Yeah, Anne LaPlay from Alliance Française, she's on the committee too, and we're hoping she'll bring some type of international flair and culture
Nice.
portion to the vendor mix.
Okay,
So, yeah.
so that's my question then, I know the boundaries have to be tight, and that's what was recommended by your marketing specialist, but all of our variety of food vendors, not all, but a lot of them are north of Lake Bluff. So you have Asian, Chinese, British, most of our flavors. So when you mention local fresh, and then Trustee Menta is mentioning, like, how are we benefiting the businesses from exposure? Who are the local vendors?
I don't have commitments for everyone yet. I mean, yeah, I want to get some first, and then we're going to be soliciting heavily. But Corner Bakery is coming into the bike race, and there's more businesses that want to now get involved.
Right, I'm just saying it's a
So
food feast.
that will be the priority, and we would like several, at least 5, 6 businesses to be part of the harvest dinner, so they're gonna get
From Shorewood.
awareness from that too.
Are you talking about from Shorewood?
Yeah.
You know what my question is, right? Like, is it food from Shorewood that we're showcasing?
Not just, it needs to be more than that, because, yeah, and a lot of the food businesses they don't do food outside, they don't have a presence like that ever, or they would have participated in other events,
So and then I'm gonna move on. My biggest concern is going off of Trustee Menta, I don't see the big benefit to the businesses. I see it as a great community event, but I'm not sure where that fits for food and that's
I mean,
Jenny.
that's a bigger picture, events in general, what are the benefits of events?
Yeah, I don't think we need to
Okay,
discuss
yeah,
that tonight.
I just said that was my concern, and I don't know that we'll get to the bottom of it. Trustee Buckles.
I want to thank you also for coming back to us and giving us this information again and for further developing the feast. I'm excited about it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be in town, unfortunately. Hopefully I will. But I also want to appreciate again, the work that you guys do at the bid. I know I've seen from reading the memo and from looking into a lot of the things, how heavily you not only rely on community volunteers, but on the bid board members themselves for all of the different steering committees and everything else. And so I appreciate the event as described, whether or not you use local people, whether or not it's up to the bid board ultimately and the bid director to determine whether or not this is a valuable bid event. It's not, again, up to us, and I think that we should caution ourselves from overstepping and bid affairs once again. So I want to apologize for that. I'd like to move on. It is late. So I do support this event. I support many of the community events for a variety of reasons, not just because they help the business district, but I do believe they bring in people, they help our residents, they help our schools, and well beyond. And we're an open community. It speaks to what Shorewood is, and so I do like that description that Mr. Ursink had said, that this is all things Shorewood. So I look forward to it. Thank you.
In the future, if we have a dissenting opinion, I appreciate not apologizing for someone else's statement. Leanne.
I just wanted to let everybody know that dependent upon the police department's final stamp of traffic control plans, it appears likely we're gonna have to rent some barricades for this event.
Leanne, can you please tell me, what was the concern and how was it addressed?
Point of order, President Rosick.
Point of order for what?
I'm not sure how this is germane to the event that's going on right now, when staff has already mentioned that they do not have any recollection or any reason to have concern.
So, point of order, do we, Attorney Bureau?
Can I?
Yes. Point of order, I'd like to ask a question to staff. I thought we went over this last time.
There's a motion pending, was there a motion there?
Yes.
Okay, so it's well, we're in discussion, so, I mean, unless somebody calls the question, this is the purpose of discussion.
Okay, thank you. Manager Ewell.
So just for clarification purposes, both Sarah and I were out of the office at the time this meeting occurred. So I would be interested to hear if Leanne had any further comments relative to
Thank you.
any concerns that were related to this, because there were none noted. And many times when we meet as a staff, there are things that come up during the course of the discussion. The opportunity for those meetings is to allow the applicant to then go back and refine their application for things that, I mean, we just can't think of everything. I wish I could all the time, but. So, Leanne, is there anything outstanding?
No, I mean, we had a very healthy discussion regarding traffic control and plan and how we would appropriately barricade and block. But I left that meeting comfortable that we understood the point and that Erica understood the points that we were making and that we agreed on ways to address them.
Excellent, thank you. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries 6-1. Thank you and good luck. Great, our next item.
Yes. Sorry. 9D, consider sidewalk replacement program criteria, meeting number 5.
Leah?
Your packet includes proposed revisions to the sidewalk replacement criteria. It also includes some photo examples of how those criteria, or what defects they address. As a point of information, we did walk using these criteria, a couple random blocks, just to see, in their application, how that might change the quantities. And on those blocks, I would say it reduced the quantity between a half, just over a half, maybe to 2/3 or so, which puts us in the ballpark that we want to be. Now, I'm extrapolating, of course, it was a handful of blocks, but
Could you just, what were the significant changes?
we put, I'm going to show you pictures, because that's better. So if you flip to the photos, probably the most significant change is that very first photo, criteria 1, which is a defect at a control joint. In the past, any defect within this area was labeled a candidate for replacement. So we recognize that these types of failures of the control joints are relatively common. They also tend not to be failures that what's the word I'm looking for? Would be rather static. I mean, we wouldn't likely see the failure of the entire slab in the next 10-year cycle from a small failure at a control joint. So you know the criteria actually includes size dimensions for that. So that's probably the most significant change. We did address differential settlement, but we also did that in the previous criteria because now we are going to be attempting to shave or grind the majority of those edges. Other significant things would be, in the past, the criteria was so specific that basically any slab that had previously been repaired or rehabilitated through lead jacking would qualify for replacement. Now that would only qualify if there was more than one opening where the repair had failed. The other area, well, those are the three big ones.
Any, question about that?
I have a question about carriage walks. So, for example, there's one on the side, I'm in a corner, that is just never, I mean, it's not very far from our driveway and is just never used. So can be, and it's not adjacent to a front door, it's kind of meaningless to be there. What's the policy on carriage walks?
In the past, if owners have contacted us and said that they wanted the walk removed, we do that as a part of the program.
Trustee Maher?
I would just make a motion to approve the sidewalk replacement criteria revisions as presented in our memo June 17th, 2019.
Second.
So a motion made by trustee Maher, a second by trustee Warren. Further discussion, I'm gonna vote no. I'm looking forward to our budget session where we can talk about putting this on the tax rolls, and I know you kind of wanted that for a little bit, for a long time too. So looking forward to that discussion, and I do feel, as I stated last time, that the criteria did not need to be changed in order for us to narrow our applicability of it. And so, even after reading the memo, I feel like we could have accomplished this without narrowing our criteria on paper. Any other discussion? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Motion carries 6-1. Thank you, Leanne. Our next item for consideration is?
9E, consider meter replacement program project management and communication plan meeting number 7.
Good. Don't do this in your committee? No, right?
No.
I keep reminding myself that I want maybe chairs to say something. Okay, go ahead.
So this is, the typical project management and communication plan. The difference really is that it's not complete. And it will not be complete until we have a vendor on board. But the purpose of us bringing it before you tonight was really just to highlight the pre-installation communication activities, which with the passage of your meter ordinance last time, we are really going to start very actively getting the word out about the installation program. Aside from the reading system selection, to the average Shorewood resident at this point, that's not of great interest necessarily to them. But the things we want to have out in front of people well ahead of the project implementation is the requirements to be in their house, what we're doing, how long it's going to take, what it's going to be, what's involved, when the time frame is, that sort of thing. So we are going to be ramping that up relatively quickly.
Excellent. Trustee Montel.
I know you probably talked about this last time and I've forgotten, but if your plumbing is all good, then you don't need to get a plumber. There shouldn't be a cost, right? It's just if there's some problem with your plumbing.
Right.
Because I think that's what people are gonna, if they have to call a plumber, that's what they are gonna be concerned about.
So one of the items on here is a postcard, and I'm, my intent is
Yeah, I'm doing this
that
first.
that
Put those garbage flyers. Go ahead. Right?
to have that out within the next 4 weeks or so, and that is going to be like the first introduction into people's homes of, hey, there's a meter project coming up. It's going to involve, us, a vendor, getting into your home to replace the meter. There are some plumbing requirements, and I'm working on revamping the web page, and so it's just going to be that first point of contact, but it will give them those future resources. So it'll give them a website. We'll have some links into plumbing, and it'll say, we need to make sure your plumbing is in good working order. I'm paraphrasing, I don't have this done, but it's going to be a generic statement that kind of gives people a little bit of an opportunity to pause and say, oh, plumbing by my meter. I wonder what that looks like. And then, a phone number to call if they have any questions.
Excellent. Trustee Webb.
I think based on thanking Leanne for presenting this, we appreciate the answers. I think I can make a motion. I move to approve the preliminary water meter replacement program, project management and communication plan.
Second.
So we have a motion by trustee Warren, a second by trustee Maher. Further discussion. Trustee Maher.
So you're planning one open house?
At this point, yes. My thought right now is that it's going to be a bit of a marathon open house. What I'd like to do is have an afternoon session and an evening session. And we will have displays very similar to what you saw the other evening. We'll have more information about what type of meter reading system we have, because people will certainly have questions about that and its capabilities. But at this point, we are planning one day. That certainly can change.
So that's in October. And when's this actually gonna start rolling out? Like when are people gonna be knocking on doors to do this?
The open house, I believe, is scheduled for early part of November.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this thing is really hard to read.
I know, there's a lot.
Okay.
This is the biggest paper I've ever printed. So we can get a plotter and everything, but, at this point, and this is just our, our best guess, we expect installation to start, in the first quarter of 2020. But want to get the word out and give people the opportunity. I don't want to do that between Christmas between Thanksgiving and the first of the year.
Right.
So the early part of November seemed to be a good point to sort of get it out there, give people the ability to ask questions, but then have some time before we really jumped in. We tossed around the idea of doing it in early January, but thought, that's maybe just not enough time to give people to come to grips.
But so if I have to call a plumber and have a lot of work done, I won't know until the vendor comes in and says, oh, it's a mess, you gotta call a plumber.
So here's kind of what I expect to happen there. Very short, abridged version. They go in and, the majority of them they can do, no problem. Some of them may be a little trickier. There might be some things that they can do that don't require updates to the meter setting. But there are going to be, there's going to be a healthy list of, we can't freeze the line for whatever reason, we can't get on the curb stop for whatever reason, and there's going to have to be some plumbing changes. I don't expect that to be the majority. I'm hoping it's not even a significant percentage of them. I'm hoping it's a handful. But who knows? That's the reality of the community this age and what we're doing. We're not unique in that sense. It happens every time somebody does a meter replacement.
Lovely, Trustee Bachers.
I'm comfortable with what's being proposed, and would just ask the rest of us, it's 10 after 10 almost.
Do you have a motion? We do. And a second. Does anybody have any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Leah.
Great, 9F, consider resolution 2019-13 regarding the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources and our 2018 compliance maintenance annual report.
Leah.
Housekeeping, we're required to do this every year. You probably remember this. I like the years where we get an A on all sections and we just pass a resolution saying you got an A, we don't have to do anything. That's the case this year.
I would make a motion to approve resolution 2019-13, a resolution regarding the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources in our 208-2017 compliance annual report.
Second. Motion and a second. Trustee Bachers, did you second it? Yep. Okay. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor. Roll call.
Trustee McKay.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenter.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Benton.
Aye.
Trustee Bachers.
Yes.
President Rosers.
Yes. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Leanne. Good night. The next item is reports from village officers, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to announce, was it in the packet proclamation?
Yes, it was.
That's right. So, yeah, I think that's how we do it. So, we gave a proclamation to the Women's League of Voters of Milwaukee County, who requested it in honor of the right to vote. I was not able to attend the event, but we did follow up with the organizer, and she said that they announced that Milwaukee County, they were really proud that Milwaukee County had 4 execs, women execs of Milwaukee County municipalities, and that was really big for them, and so one of them obviously is Shorewood, so I'm pretty proud. And again, and Mayor Daley from Wauwatosa, and then there was the most recent African-American lady, I can't remember. Yeah, what is
Lana, Montgomery.
Yes, yep, and then, so that's 3, and I'm forgetting someone, oh, like fish bank, so we have, Julie. That's that. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, seeing none. The second one, I just wanted to make a plea with our board members, all of us, that when we are talking with our intergovernmental partners, it would be good to not speak of other board members in a negative light. And I know we'll have this conversation more fully during the ethics, but and also to remind people that our intergovernmental relation committees, like the ICC, like any kind of type that we're partners in, if we, we support those, and the statements that we make also support those organizations, it would go a long way for our village. And the third thing on my reports is trustee liaison appointment to pet and bike safety, and that's trustee Warren. So that just goes, that was correct. Okay, and that's all I had for now. Trustee Carpenter.
I'm assuming we're moving on to those trustees.
I agree.
Okay. I just had a quick thing about the 4th of July parade. I did reach out to Sarah. There will be a banner for the trustees. I would like to collect maybe a couple of dollars from each of us so we can have a wagon full of communal candy that we can all share and throw out so we can be a little bit more unified than we were in the past. So if you're going to be at the parade, if you wouldn't mind contributing, I will bring a wagon. But that way
To you?
can,
Do you give me the money?
yeah, I'll go to Costco or wherever and
10 or what?
yeah, I think like $10 each will get us a fair quantity, and then you don't all have to worry about it, and you can
Excellent.
put together.
And can I just ask a question about shirts? No shirts this year?
Even if we can all do red, white, and blue, that'd be great. I think a banner will
Banner will do it.
be,
And the magnet for the cars.
I don't know if there are cars. You're right.
There will be, yeah.
But,
There's,
I feel,
if you can just check, because last year the magnet disappeared.
yes.
Okay, and also last question is, the statement is I have little flags for everyone, so I'll bring those. In case anybody wants to fly a little flag. Thank you, thanks for organizing that, trustee Martel.
I just wanted to mention that at our last meeting, the bid director made some statements that I found disturbing about inappropriate discussions and pseudo threats. And so I did want to follow up with her as to, which seemed like she was accusing a member of our board of this. And I did follow up with her about what exactly she was trying to say. And I'm still attempting to resolve what she, get her to clarify what she's saying, because I feel like it's, of course, if that's happening, it's definitely something we need to address. But at the same time, if it's not happening and the bid director is coming and making accusations towards people, there needs to be some substance to it, and the latest, I can share my correspondence with her, but I guess I just wanted everyone to know that I was trying to follow up on that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Trustee Bachers and then, Bachers and then Maher.
A couple of things. One is that I attended Pride Fest just last week, and I was invited by many of the individuals that were here, and they also were very, very pleased with the conversion therapy ban ordinance and the movement that we've had. So I want to thank you all for that. And it was quite a well attended. We were part of, I guess they call it the VIP tent or something like that. But so there were many administrators, lots of people from across the state, and a lot of people who are looking to do what we just passed here in Shorewood. And so that just a lot of great energy and conversations, and I'm really happy again with the decision tonight.
Was the Milwaukee County exec there?
There's, what?
Was Milwaukee County exec there?
The mayor was there, the exec, there were lots of other, Chevy Johnson was there, gosh, who else? Yeah, a lot of people. and he did talk about his house. Anyway, also wanted to mention that this has been, the school year's wrapped up, so I know we've had terrible weather, but I'm glad that we supported the lifeguards, and also just, it's quite interesting to see all the children working for DPW and different things here. And then, let's see, League of Municipalities, we have our summer board planning meeting coming up. And I know that Trustee Menta, you've expressed that you'd like to see the league become more active with helping move the state's needle as far as conversion therapy bans. So I welcome anyone here from the board who'd like to join with me and collaborate and help with that. And just as I mentioned before with my offer, if I'm willing to collaborate with anyone on this because more voices together makes us much stronger. Let's see. Oh, I think that's all I have for now.
Okay. Any, Trustee Mark?
The transportation and parking, the public first session is June 26th. There'll be one at 1 o'clock and 6 p.m. The consultant will be they'll be going over a general introduction and your name here is. The technical advisory group is going to meet June 21st at 2 p.m. There will be a public notice here shortly. The consultant's going to come in and just get a baseline, explain what's in place, and just start getting going. So, and there are postcards going out to 7,000 plus addresses. I don't know if they've arrived yet, but they are going out. So,
Sign up for notify me.
so.
Is there a button that, like we just said to the residents, like a notify me button that they can?
Sign up? I think there was. I think I got this. Yeah, I think it was in the village managers. Bart was gone last week, so he's scrambling right now. This is a pretty compressed time frame, so, but he's on it now. So, yeah. Saturday, the Shorewood Historical Society had a walking tour of the terracotta on Capitol Drive primarily, around City Market and down around North Oakland, by the gentleman who spoke at the Historical Society annual dinner. Very great, not a big turnout, but very informative, and I'm excited that maybe the Historical Society can do more walking tours explaining our historic buildings and the features of them and why we're so unique. So it was really exciting opportunities.
Excellent. Anything further?
Nope.
Okay. Trustee Warren, are you scratching or?
I'm scratching.
Any other trustee or board member that has a report? If not, we'll go down to village manager.
Items for future
Oh.
consideration.
Village manager.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed you.
It's okay, I usually try to make this quick for you guys. But no differently than we considered a resolution on the CMAR report that we listed for. Just that it's this time of year where we're filing reports in general. In my Friday internal update, I sent you links to these 2 other reports that we do. If you have any questions on them moving forward, feel free to reach out to us. They're ones that we do every year as a matter of course. They just don't require a resolution. Wanted to provide a friendly reminder that on this Wednesday, June 19th, we're going to be meeting here with the school board for a joint school board and village board meeting. Those packets were sent out. They were updated today with the agenda because the school district has requested an update on conversion therapy, so we'll have lots of great things to report. Hopefully you guys can join us. Just so you are aware, I'm going to be out of the office at the Wisconsin City Managers Association conference on Thursday and Friday of this week. So if you need anything, please text, but I won't be in the office those 2 days. And then I get to spend another Monday with you guys. We're going to start reviewing prioritization. So on Monday, June 24th. So again, just a friendly reminder. We have kind of a compressed time period, so I've been sifting through the initiatives that have come in on Friday and over the weekend, and I'm hoping to have a general landscape prior to leaving here on Friday, and then be able to give to you that spreadsheet that's updated with those suggestions from trustees, and then looking forward to having that discussion with you on Monday.
And when do we review the administrations and the big ones that you, I know you put them in packet, I think, or an email.
Yeah,
What do
so
we have to talk about?
thanks for bringing that up. So, and when we provide back to you the list of the trustee initiatives, it's actually going to come in that spreadsheet. It had all the ones that were proposed in 2018, those that have been proposed already by staff and committees, and then you'll see the trustees components inserted. So
And we
they're
didn't talk about any of those, and more, when did we talk about those?
great question. It was actually, that came up today, again, in a conversation that I was actually having with trustee Amenta. And so we'll have some discussion on the initiatives, but then we'll also have an opportunity for the board to weigh in to say how they want to look at committee initiatives and not moving forward. There was never a concise level of agreement in terms of how to review those. We did review them internally, which is what we had said that we were going to do in establishing, from a staff perspective, the resources that would be required and how that would look. So I'll be able to respond to some of those questions, but
We're interested in the administration, because you have some good ones, right?
there are actually a couple, some of which that are probably dovetail and directly correlate to some of the trustee initiatives that were submitted, but so yeah, we'll be looking forward to wrapping those up and starting that conversation.
Okay, excellent. Is that all?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, that was it.
Okay.
Lots of reminders.
Items for future consideration.
Anyone have an item for future consideration at this time? I know I do, but I can't remember what it was, so. Nobody, sorry. All right. And then we do have a closed session. Rebecca, you're going to stay for it, I assume?
If that's the word.
Okay.
I just need a motion.
I move to adjourn into closed session pursuant to 19.851C to discuss the annual performance evaluation of the village manager.
So it's a roll call?
It is.
Okay.
Trustee McKay.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Menta. Trustee Warren. Trustee Carpenter.
Yes.
Trustee Buckhorst. President Rosen.
Yes. We can do it, and then we get to wait for trustee Rockers, because this is her agenda item. But you can show the right, right?
I can start recording.